ChatGPT is taking the world by storm. I mean, this is the biggest artificial intelligence breakthrough of our lifetimes, and I'm convinced going public could make this company have the biggest IPO in history. The early insiders already have a chance to make 100 times their money. 100 times. Folks like Sequoia Capital, Peter Thiel, Andreessen Horowitz, they're all in and more. And today, you have a rare chance to join them on the winning side of what could go down as the biggest wealth transfer in history. Because I'm going to show you how to claim your stake now before ChatGPT goes public. Now, I'm venture capitalist Luke Lango, and if I'm right, $20.6 trillion could soon be on the line. I've called over a dozen companies that have gone on to explode 1,000% or more, and this could be my biggest call yet. I'll see you in the next video. Hi, I'm Luke Lango, and unless you haven't been paying attention recently, you've surely heard of ChatGPT. I mean, it's the biggest artificial intelligence breakthrough of our lifetimes. And I'm personally convinced that when the company goes public, it could make the biggest IPO in history. And that's why, in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you how to claim your stake in ChatGPT now before the IPO. Because right now at ChatGPT headquarters, OpenAI CEO Sam Altman is igniting a massive $20.6 trillion wealth shift. So the moment he takes ChatGPT public, it could mint a new breed of millionaires. I mean, Bill Gates has already called ChatGPT the biggest thing he's seen since he invented Windows. And it might be the biggest advancement in modern history, according to Yahoo. In other words, based on that headline, ChatGPT could create even more wealth than the advent of the internet itself. I mean, it's why the insiders are all over it in the private market. But you don't have to be an insider or an accredited investor to position yourself now. Because thanks to my years working at the highest levels of venture capital, I found a loophole that lets you claim your stake in ChatGPT now before the IPO. And that means you have a chance to be on the winning side of possibly the biggest wealth transfer in history. And all it takes is just a few $100s. Now, you'll have to decide if that's worth it for you, but all my research points to this being a generational shift. Because as I'm going to show you, the ChatGPT craze could create 4 million new millionaires in the next 7 years. Look, I mean, until recently, most people simply had never heard of ChatGPT parent company OpenAI or its CEO Sam Altman. But I know he's willing to do whatever it takes to win. And it's why in the private market, OpenAI has legally promised to pay a maximum 100 times return to its earliest investors. Now, as a venture capitalist, I've worked with some of the most successful angel investors on the planet. I've been involved with legendary Idea Labs angel investor Bill Gross, and he's created more than $7 billion worth of new IPO wealth. And I'm telling you, I've never seen anything like ChatGPT. I mean, no wonder Silicon Valley's top venture capital firms are all lined up behind OpenAI, because take a look at this screenshot. These are OpenAI's own words, and I quote, "If we are successful, we expect to generate orders of magnitude more value than we'd owe to people who invest in or work at OpenAI." Now, let me repeat that, because remember, we're talking about 100 times max promise. We expect to generate orders of magnitude more value than we'd owe. In other words, Sam Altman is telling investors we expect to be worth trillions of dollars. I mean, think about that. Only Apple, the world's most valuable company, is worth trillions of dollars. None of the other FANG stocks are even worth $2 trillion. That's crazy. But as Sequoia Capital can confirm, generative AI has the potential to generate trillions of dollars of economic value. It's why they're backing OpenAI now. So if you missed out on the biggest tech winners of the last 2 decades, please pay close attention. Because OpenAI is following the exact same wealth building playbook. Now, how can I be so sure? Well, because Sequoia Capital, they're the same venture capital firm that was behind Uber, Airbnb, Zoom, YouTube, PayPal, Google, and hundreds of other huge winners. They're the most successful venture capital firm on the planet. And that's because their secret is to only invest in generational companies that push the world forward. Uber revolutionized the ride-sharing industry. Airbnb revolutionized the travel industry. And Zoom revolutionized the work-from-home industry. Do you see the pattern? Imagine going back in time with this wealth blueprint and being able to bet on Sequoia's picks pre-IPO, like YouTube, before it revolutionized online video sharing. YouTube's valuation has skyrocketed 82,600% since then, enough to turn a mere $5,000 into $4.1 million. Or how about PayPal? Before it revolutionized online banking, PayPal's valuation has exploded as much as 355,900% since then. That's enough to turn a meager $5,000 into $17.7 million. Or how about Google? Before it revolutionized online search, Google's valuation has blasted a ludicrous 1,733,200% higher. That's enough to turn $5,000 into $866.6 million. These are some of the largest moves I've ever seen. Just capturing a fraction of any of them could have made you wealthier than you'd ever imagined. And while all those gains are long gone, following this ChatGPT loophole now gives you a rare chance to piggyback on Sequoia's next big bet with OpenAI. But if you want to position yourself, you'll have to act fast, because the Wall Street Journal just reported that OpenAI is in talks with venture capital firms to raise more cash. Now, what that tells me is that an IPO announcement is a real possibility, and it could happen at any moment. And as you're about to see, this is a bet unlike any of the others. PayPal, YouTube, Google, Airbnb, and Zoom, they all leverage the internet to revolutionize a specific industry or sector. But ChatGPT is revolutionizing the internet itself. As one Bank of America strategist told his clients, we're at a historic inflection point. And it's why I'm convinced Sam Altman is loudly implying OpenAI could be worth trillions of dollars. In short, ChatGPT is the Manhattan Project, and it's aimed directly at big tech. This is the new dawn of the new ChatGPT-powered internet. Mark Cuban, who made a fortune during the internet revolution, confirms that ChatGPT is so similar to HTML and the internet early days. Everyone knew it would be impactful, but we made it seem far more complicated than it actually was. And he's right. Because the simple truth is that ChatGPT is just exponentially better. And that's why OpenAI is reorienting the entire internet around ChatGPT. The wealth shift, folks, is happening now. Because while lots of big-name tech companies got crushed last year, companies you've never heard of who've teamed up with OpenAI have actually seen their stocks skyrocket. Like Fiscal Note, for example. In a single day, the stock blasted 75% higher. And BuzzFeed, shares exploded up 203% in just one day. In C3.ai, shares soared 150% in just over a month. Indeed, something incredible is happening behind the scenes. Even Google CEO Sundar Pichai confirmed generative AI is more profound than fire or electricity. And Apple CEO Tim Cook admitted it's going to affect every product we have. It's only been a few months and ChatGPT is already the fastest growing application in history. It took Apple almost 4 years to sell 100 million iPhones, but ChatGPT hit 100 million users in just 2 months. And that's why Yahoo reported ChatGPT's 100 millionth user means the age of AI is here. And 100 million users is actually nothing compared to what's coming. Facebook has nearly 3 billion users, and ChatGPT is growing 26 times faster than Facebook did. I mean, that's amazing, because legendary investor Peter Thiel was able to turn a $500,000 bet on Facebook into $1 billion. And he's betting bigger on ChatGPT. And that's why the time to put this loophole into action is right now. The longer you wait to act, the more money you're leaving on the table. OpenAI's valuation is just going to keep growing on the private market. And like I said, an IPO could come together at a moment's notice. I mean, think about it. If you were CEO Sam Altman, sitting on a once-in-a-generation technology, how long are you going to wait? As The Economist confirms, investors are going nuts for ChatGPT-ish artificial intelligence. So how the stock market is moving is irrelevant, folks. Remember the Airbnb IPO was one of the biggest IPOs of the last 20 years, and the travel company shocked the world by going public during a global pandemic when most people weren't traveling at all. And that's why, if you dismiss this message, you could be making the biggest financial mistake of your life. Months from now, you don't want to be kicking yourself because you didn't just put in a few $100s into this ChatGPT loophole, because that's all it takes to get started. And once OpenAI does take ChatGPT public, there's no going back. I mean, that's why Silicon Valley has been all over OpenAI. Take billionaire VC Marc Andreessen, for example, who actually invented the internet browser. Now, he was so excited by what he saw with ChatGPT, he bet they would radically transform the internet 2 years ago. I mean, no wonder Wired has called him the man who makes the future. Peter Thiel has been so eager to grab his stake, he's in talks to close a $300 million deal with another venture capital firm. $300 million is 600 times more money than what Thiel bet on Facebook back in the day. So you can imagine how big he thinks this is. It's also why billionaire angel investor Vinod Khosla told the media, "We were fortunate to be the first VC to invest in OpenAI. How far the company has come." And reportedly being worth $29 billion now is nothing compared to the trillions we know they're chasing. By the time OpenAI takes ChatGPT public, I wouldn't be shocked to see their valuation blast 500% higher from here. And that means the insiders are in perfect position to just keep getting richer. But if you're not one of these angel investors or venture capitalists who are seeing gains from OpenAI on the private market, it's not your fault. Because as Forbes puts it, angel investing, this is how the rich invest. As I said earlier, I've been involved in numerous startups, including one that got started with an investment from the legendary angel investor, Bill Gross. Now, Bill's been called America's top unicorn investor, so Bill and I have seen why regular people like you never see these kinds of gains. And that's because the biggest gains are made before the company goes public. Do you remember Uber's IPO? So if you bought on IPO day, you're probably still underwater, but not the angel investors. CNBC even published this headline about how rich you'd be if you were an Uber angel. Because while regular people lost money, angel investors could have gotten almost 10,000 times richer. That's a 999,900% gain, enough to turn every $5,000 into $50 million. And that's why the insiders keep making a fortune on IPO day, while regular people like you keep getting left behind. Now, we saw it with Sequoia when Google went public, and with Peter Thiel and Marc Andreessen, who both got rich when Facebook went public, and Andreessen, who got even richer on Twitter's IPO day, and Sequoia and Peter Thiel, who did it again with the Airbnb IPO. Now, not surprisingly, these are all the same insiders who were all lined up behind the ChatGPT IPO. Because once OpenAI does go public, they're all expecting to make a fortune once again. Now, the reason I'm telling you this is because the game is rigged, folks. And right now, the only way you can get a stake in OpenAI is to wait until shares hit the open market. And that means you'll have to wait until IPO day once everyone with an internet connection and a brokerage account has already bid up the price. Of course, by then, the insiders will have made all the fast gains and you'll have missed out on this chance to follow this ChatGPT loophole. Because remember, an IPO is only going to happen once. And once OpenAI goes public, this opportunity to act pre-IPO vanishes forever. That's why I'm going to show you how to take advantage of this ChatGPT loophole today. Now, everyone says they want to find the next Apple or the next Amazon, and I'm telling you, this is it. Look, I've had some pretty big wins in my career. I've identified over a dozen public companies that have since returned at least 1,000%, like Chegg, the Netflix of textbooks. I recommended buying shares back when they were trading for just $4 a piece, and that was 4 years before this article was published. Anyone who followed my recommendation then had a chance at gains as high as 2,554%. That's enough to turn $5,000 into $132,700. I also told people to buy tiny EV darling NEO when it was trading for just $1.94. And that was another chance to see a 3,353% peak gain in just 3 years. And that's enough to turn a $5,000 investment into $172,650. And I also recommended chipmaker AMD way back in 2016, 3 years later, and went on to become the #1 stock of the year in 2019, giving anyone who followed my recommendation a chance at peak gains of 6,149%, enough to turn a $5,000 investment into $312,450. But those gains, folks, are nothing compared to what's coming for OpenAI and its investors. That's because, as I said before, ChatGPT is going to launch the biggest wealth transfer in history, shifting $20.6 trillion away from big tech. In fact, I predict ChatGPT could drain up to 81% of one big tech company's yearly revenue stream. I'll even share the name and ticker symbol of that company with you in just a moment in case you have shares and do want to sell. Because, folks, there is no doubt in my mind that OpenAI investors are already on the winning side of this wealth transfer. And as history has shown, being on the winning side means having an extraordinary chance to make an absolute fortune. Just look at what happened when Microsoft's Internet Explorer was on the winning side of the browser wars of the 1990s. In just 2 years, Netscape Navigator lost its throne as the most popular internet browser ever, and Netscape's stock lost over 75% of its value. Meanwhile, shares of Microsoft exploded by over 400%. So if you owned shares of Microsoft back then, you could have turned every $5,000 invested into $25,000 in just 2 years. Now, the same thing, of course, happened when Netflix was on the winning side of the video rental wars of the early 2000s. Blockbuster's shares crashed all the way to zero, while early investors in Netflix could have made peak gains of 4,318%. That's enough to turn every $5,000 invested into $215,900 in just over 7 years. And of course, it happened again when Apple was on the winning side of the smartphone wars in the late 2000s. BlackBerry stock was left for dead. Meanwhile, early Apple shareholders could have made peak gains of 3,975%. That means both shareholders on the winning side of Netflix and Apple could have seen peak gains of nearly 4,000% or more. Regular people don't see these kinds of opportunities because these moves only happen during historic wealth transfers like what I've shown you. And as amazing as those gains were, OpenAI investors could see even more explosive profits. That's because unlike the browser wars, the video rental wars, or the smartphone wars, which all involved the internet. This is a war over the entire internet. And if I'm right, what's coming next is about to shock the world. But if you wait, you're going to be reading it in the news because ChatGPT, folks, is on a collision course with Google's most valuable asset. I'm talking, of course, about Google Search. Now, right now, Google Search controls more than 93% of the world's online search market. You want to see the score of the game? You Google it. You want to find the closest pizza delivery place? You Google it. You want to know the weather? You Google it. You want to look someone up, compare flight prices, read reviews, get vacation ideas, find a new recipe, you name it, you Google it. I mean, most people have no idea how valuable owning that market is. But that's why being on the winning side of this wealth transfer specifically could be historic. Because the world's online search market will soon be worth $20.6 trillion in just a few short years, and that means ChatGPT could soon shift a future $20.6 trillion market away from big tech and toward OpenAI and its investors. I mean, it would be the largest wealth transfer of all time. Now, one of Google's most famous engineers, the man who invented Gmail, gives it a year, maybe two. This is what he tweeted just 24 hours after ChatGPT went live. Google may be only a year or two away from total disruption. AI will eliminate the search engine result page, which is where they make most of their money. Now, let me repeat that for you. The guy who invented Gmail said AI will eliminate the search engine result page. So this $20.6 trillion wealth transfer is almost as certain as it gets. And that means Google stands to lose 81% of their total yearly revenue. No more Google search ads. It's why Fortune reports former Google CEO Eric Schmidt says the tech sector faces a reckoning. Now you can call it the ChatGPT moment if you like, but it's going to be so much bigger than that. We're talking about a $20.6 trillion wealth shift. Just think about how big that is. For all the hype about renewable energy, that's 20 times more valuable than every stockpile of solar, wind, hydropower, and geothermal energy on the planet today. For all the talk about crypto, that's 24 times more valuable than the current value of every Bitcoin and Ethereum in the world combined. Even electric vehicles, which I know everyone is excited about these days, that's 43 times more valuable. And as history has shown, that means OpenAI investors could get incredibly rich. Now, for regular Americans, this is a chance to follow this ChatGPT loophole now, to claim your share of this explosion of wealth before the ChatGPT IPO. Because you do not want to wait until the company goes public and the whole world finally realizes that ChatGPT is about to dethrone Google. I mean, backing ChatGPT now could be like buying into Google in 1999. Imagine being lucky enough to have the ability to do just that. Sequoia Capital, they actually did do that. And they made 15,900% on Google's IPO. And that's the equivalent of turning $5,000 into $795,000. And what tipped them toward Google? I can't say for sure, but it seems pretty obvious to me. They knew Google was about to revolutionize online search, just like ChatGPT is doing now. I mean, even an ex-Google research director admitted ChatGPT has put a stake in the ground, saying, here's what a compelling new search experience could look like. Now, let me remind you, we're talking about a potential $20.6 trillion market that is now up for grabs. Fortunes are going to be made, others are going to be destroyed, but OpenAI's investors must be drooling right now because Google knows they're in trouble. Get this, within days of ChatGPT going viral, Google CEO Sundar Pichai issued a code red alert, a fact confirmed by CNET. And that means all hands are on deck. He even called co-founders Larry Page and Sergey Brin out of retirement. I mean, that's an astonishing display of weakness from a trillion-dollar company. Do you see Jeff Bezos coming back to Amazon? But it's not just Google's CEO who's worried. I mean, Google's own employees are seeing the writing on the wall too. There's no other explanation because out of nowhere, they're suddenly quitting in droves. And they're switching sides to work for OpenAI. I mean, think about that. These are the people responsible for pushing Google search forward, but they can't because they know ChatGPT is going to come out on top. It's why this ex-Google AI research engineer tweeted, "Can't wait to work on #ChatGPT and help drive the future of AI." And why another ex-Google engineer who quit to join OpenAI tweeted, "Can't wait to see the impact of AI on society." In other words, folks, a wave of Google's leading engineers are all defecting at once. It's a mass exodus of Google's top talent heading straight to OpenAI. I mean, last I checked, OpenAI counts at least 59 ex-Google employees. Even the lead computer scientist for OpenAI is an ex-Google executive. So many Google engineers have switched sides. The information has even called them OpenAI's hidden weapon. So what do all these ex-Google engineers have planned next? Well, in short, OpenAI is about to do to Google search what Netflix did to Blockbuster. And I'll show you the proof in a minute. And just like how in 1997 everyone hated Blockbuster for late fees, if Google burns down, there's no lost love here. Frankly, I'm okay with Google getting whatever's coming to them, and you should be too. I mean, did you know Google got funding to spy on you from the government's top surveillance agencies? I mean, it sounds insane, of course, and yet here's actual email correspondence leaked between Sergey Brin and former NSA spy boss General Keith Alexander. You can see it was signed, "Cheers, Sergey," as in Sergey Brin. So, if you've ever suspected Google was spying on you, this confirms what you already knew. And yet, I'm telling you, their surveillance is deeper than you could have ever imagined. Did you know that Google can read your emails, keep tabs on what you're searching for, and even track every place you've ever been? That means Google knows your deepest, darkest secrets. I mean, look at this headline from Predict. Google knows your politics, if you have kids, any health conditions, even what you look like. It's why they've been accused of exploiting, deceiving, and spying on their fellow humans. I mean, that's not just a complete invasion of your privacy. It's absolutely terrifying. The internet is supposed to be a place of freedom. But up until now, Google has controlled 93% of online search. So now that we can agree Google deserves whatever's coming their way, let me show you proof why I'm certain ChatGPT will make a lot of people filthy rich. And when you see this, you'll see why it's a complete game changer. Because unlike Google search, ChatGPT actually gives you the answers you want instantly. So you don't have to scroll through dozens of page results. You don't have to click any links or open any tabs, and you don't have to navigate past paywalls. In other words, you don't really even have to search. Say you have a few minutes and just want to buy a new pair of running shoes. Simply prompt ChatGPT with something like, "I'm looking for a new pair of running shoes. Can you recommend some products?" Then watch ChatGPT automatically generate the best choices. Plus, it'll even tell you what makes each pair different. It's pretty incredible stuff, right? McKinsey reports Americans spend almost 2 hours a day searching for information. But with ChatGPT, instead of wasting 2 hours a day searching for information, you'll be getting back 2 hours of your life every single day. That's an extra 14 hours a week. And you don't have to scroll past all the Google results that are influenced by ads. I mean, this is why OpenAI CEO Sam Altman has openly called Google search a lethargic search monopoly. Because look at the same result on Google. I mean, there's absolutely no comparison. Can you see why the guy who invented Gmail believes AI is going to replace Google search in a year, maybe 2 tops? And no wonder Reuters is telling subscribers, VCs think this is the new internet. Even regular people are beginning to connect the dots. And this is why it's so important you put this ChatGPT loophole into action today. Because look at this article that was posted online. I mean, make no mistake, this internet transformation is happening at breakneck speed. ChatGPT already has 100 million users. But in just 2 months, traffic to the ChatGPT search page is exploding 3,572%. In other words, the number of users is about to blow up exponentially. And this, it's just the beginning. Reorienting internet search around ChatGPT, that was just CEO Sam Altman's first move. But now the ChatGPT has proven to be a smashing success with users everywhere. ChatGPT is going to streamline everything we do online, from how we buy things to how we travel, in a way that we've never seen done before. And it's already happening right now. Imagine having your own AI concierge at your fingertips, your own virtual assistant with 1,000 times more computational ability to complete tasks than the human brain itself. It's a breakthrough that's even making Elon Musk jealous, because he helped found OpenAI and then quit. Big oops. No wonder Bank of America called AI the new electricity, because this breakthrough is going to revolutionize how everyone uses the internet. And it's why no fewer than 902 companies have already announced partnerships with OpenAI worldwide. They're not waiting till the company goes public. Even governments are using OpenAI. I mean, nobody wants to get left out of this new ChatGPT-powered revolution. And certainly not with ChatGPT's next big move happening now. Like I said, you're about to have your own virtual assistant. PC Magazine confirms that ChatGPT is coming to an app near you. In other words, ChatGPT is about to revolutionize the $6.3 trillion online app market. And that's because this is OpenAI's master plan to turn ChatGPT into an everything app, according to Medium. Now, this idea of an everything app is completely revolutionary. And it's something Silicon Valley has been long chasing. There are millions of apps on the market, approximately 5.5 million between Google and Apple's app stores to be exact. But an everything app gives you a single platform to control all of them. Think about how valuable that would be. I mean, who doesn't rely on their apps daily? Keep in mind, this is no longer an idea because companies are rushing to plug in ChatGPT's technology with their apps. That means you'll soon be using ChatGPT even when you're using other apps. It's already happening now. Because as Restaurant Business reports, ChatGPT can now recommend restaurants on OpenTable. Just describe to ChatGPT search what restaurant experience you want, then it'll automatically generate recommendations plugging into your OpenTable app, letting you book your reservation instantly. Just check this out. I mean, what's easier than that? No wonder Bloomberg expects these plugins could turn ChatGPT into the web's switchboard. It's why one of NVIDIA's AI scientists also calls it a genius move. Because once you're on ChatGPT's search page, you'll never have to leave the platform. You just command it to find what you want, and it'll direct your app to let you take action. Imagine using ChatGPT to book your next vacation. I'm not talking about years into the future. You can literally do this right now. You just go to ChatGPT's search page, and it'll plug in with the Expedia or Kayak apps. Now just think about how much frustration you'll be able to avoid by using ChatGPT to book your trips. Right now, for example, if you want to plan a vacation, you only have 2 options. You can spend 10 to 20 hours of research. I mean, data says that's how long the average family vacation takes to book, and for my family, it's probably about 40 hours. Or you can pay a good travel agent as much as $500. But with ChatGPT, you won't have to do any research, and you won't have to pay a travel agent. So you could save yourself $500 and get back 10 to 20 hours of your life, or if you're like my family, 30 to 40 hours. But ChatGPT's search page plugs in with Instacart too. I mean, no wonder Winsight Grocery Business reports it already has shoppers buzzing. I mean, just look at this headline. Now that guy specifically asked ChatGPT to order his entire grocery list for under $100. That's amazing. In short, this is ChatGPT's App Store moment. VentureBeat declares that plugins turn ChatGPT into a platform overnight. Bloomberg calls it a revolutionary upgrade. Just look how easy plugging in your apps with ChatGPT's plugin store is. No wonder Forbes wrote, the bandwagon has now gotten even more attractive. Because history shows the biggest wealth explosions occur when at least two disruptive technologies work together. So as valuable as ChatGPT is by itself, remember, this plugin store gives them access to dominate a second market worth $6.3 trillion. It's like what happened with the iPhone and the App Store. Because as amazing as a breakthrough that the iPhone was, Apple doesn't become the world's most valuable company without combining their iPhones with the App Store. In the tech world, we call this a convergence, and it's a practically unstoppable force. Steve Jobs basically admitted this the day he launched the App Store. He said, the App Store is written to deliver apps so we can reach every iPhone user. And of course, he was right. Because since then, Apple's stock has soared as much as 3,160%. Now, the same thing happened in the 1990s when PCs and the internet converged to transform the world. I mean, companies at the heart of this convergence went absolutely vertical. Cisco, for example, soared more than 2,600%, and Qualcomm soared as high as 4,684%. That's the power of converging technologies. And with ChatGPT launching its plugin store, now history is simply repeating itself. As Forbes puts it, app makers of all kinds should be salivating over this grand possibility. CEO Sam Altman is saying we've got the hottest technology in the world and 100 million people love it. Either develop something for our ChatGPT plugin store or get left behind. And it's why developers everywhere are racing to create their own plugins for ChatGPT. There are already plugins for everything from Slack to Shopify to the NBA and more. And just like how there's an app for that, the number of ChatGPT plugins is only going to skyrocket. I mean, can you see why ChatGPT is poised to dominate the $6.3 trillion global app market? Even Apple CEO Tim Cook admits AI will affect every product and service we have. And if ChatGPT can disrupt Apple, the world's most valuable and arguably most powerful company, think about what kind of wealth transfer that would mean for OpenAI investors. In other words, the time to position yourself with this ChatGPT loophole is now. Now, I already showed you how ChatGPT is poised to dominate the $20.6 trillion online search market. Now, add that to the $6.3 trillion online app market, and we're talking about an enormously massive $26.9 trillion wealth transfer. With each passing day, OpenAI investors are watching their stakes get more and more valuable. Meanwhile, as Seeking Alpha reported, Google is the most hated tech stock on Wall Street. And that's because Google's response to ChatGPT has been, well, to put it nicely, a massive flop. In fact, it's gone so poorly, Time magazine confirmed Google actually lost $100 billion in one day. And while that cost Google shareholders big time, I bet OpenAI investors were grinning ear to ear. Because revenue is expected to skyrocket 3,233% by next year alone. And because ChatGPT is crushing Google Bard in average monthly visits by a factor of 52 to 1. I mean, add it all up, and no wonder OpenAI's valuation has already doubled in the last 2 years. And it's why I don't expect OpenAI to stay at its current valuation for much longer. Remember, OpenAI is in talks with venture capital firms to raise more cash as we speak. So it's a certainty their valuation is about to blast higher. And that means you have two options. You can either watch the insiders keep getting wealthier and wealthier from the sidelines, or you can take action now with this ChatGPT loophole. If you wait to buy after OpenAI goes public, it's going to be too late, and the insiders will have already captured all their fast and enormous gains. Like I said earlier, I wouldn't be shocked to see the company's value blast 500% higher from here just by IPO day. Now remember, the companies who are merely teaming up with OpenAI have seen their stock skyrocket. Like Fiscal Note, whose stock blasted up 75% higher in one day. Or BuzzFeed, whose stock exploded 203% higher in just one day. And C3.ai shares soared 150% in just over a month. So think about what this $26.9 trillion wealth shift could do to OpenAI over the coming weeks. And that's why there's really no time to waste, folks. Now, I've already put all the details of this ChatGPT loophole in a new prospectus. It's called the ChatGPT Pre-IPO Prospectus. And I'll show you how to get that report in just a moment. But first, let me show you why I'm virtually certain OpenAI will keep blasting higher, no matter what happens to the stock market in 2023. Now, you probably don't realize this because it happened last year while the stock market was crashing, but in the private market, dry powder surged to record highs, shooting up 580%. In other words, right now, every venture capitalist in Silicon Valley has a boatload of ammo. And where do you think all that money is going? It's going straight to investments in AI. Just like this headline says, ChatGPT sparks an AI investment bonanza. I mean, this is happening all around you quicker than you could even imagine. It's why a VC partner at Greylock put it, deals that might take up to 6 weeks are now wrapping up in as little as several days. Does that sound like investors are concerned about inflation or rising interest rates or a recession? I mean, if anything, AI right now might be the one investment that's actually insulated from all of this market chaos. A staggering $14 billion has already been raised across 585 startups. Anthropic has raised $704 million. Scale AI has raised $602 million. Lightrix, $335 million. Observe AI, $214 million. And Primer AI has raised $168 million. But here's the most eye-opening stat of them all. Despite all that activity, OpenAI is twice as valuable as the next 10 generative AI startups combined. Because everyone knows there's only one ChatGPT. And once the ChatGPT IPO happens, there is no going back. That's why taking advantage of this ChatGPT loophole today is so urgent. I mean, that's why Sequoia Capital, Tiger Global, Peter Thiel, Mark Andreessen, and many other top VCs have all made their move. And I don't want you to look back on this IPO as another missed opportunity. So if you're serious, I'd like to have you get immediate access to a copy of the ChatGPT Pre-IPO Prospectus. Inside that prospectus, I'll show you how to act on this ChatGPT loophole now, straight from inside your brokerage account. And you'll see how you can get started today with as little as a few $100s. And the only thing I ask is, you try out my cutting-edge research service, Innovation Investor, risk-free. Look, it should be obvious to you that AI is going to be the #1 megatrend of the next decade, but if you're interested, you can see all these facts and figures on our details and disclosures page linked below. The opportunity here, folks, is truly astounding. Of course, like I said before, most people don't understand the truth about ChatGPT and are going to miss out on this incredible opportunity. But that's why I launched Innovation Investor, to show ordinary people how to play the world's hottest megatrends, like AI, before it's too late. I've even developed a proprietary investment strategy around owning a piece of these megatrends. And this year, my investment strategy inside my core model portfolio has beaten the S&P 500 by more than 3 times so far. And going back further, when markets crashed, I recommended 2 stocks in 2018 that went on to return 5 times at their peak. GoGo went up as high as 418%, and JD.com soared as much as 399%. That's why in the last 3 years, I was voted the #1 stock picker in the world by TipRanks, a company that tracks the performance of over 96,000 financial experts, including hedge funds, Wall Street analysts, and more. And last year, while most people lost money, here are some of the best opportunities that I found. Today, folks, I want to extend my Innovation Investor Research Service to you to try for a full year, completely risk-free. Now, I'll show you how to get started in just a moment, but first I want to tell you actually about another valuable report that I'd like you to have. So right now, the cost of training AI is expected to plunge more than 99% over the next decade. In other words, mass adoption, of course, is inevitable when AI costs get that cheap. And that means you have a rare chance to get in position for the next wave of AI convergence winners. And not just in tech, folks, but in every industry of the economy. Take energy, for example. As you know, the biggest problem with our energy transition is reliability. I mean, no wonder Power Magazine wrote, "Why the transition to our future energy system needs AI." Because when the sun isn't shining and the wind isn't blowing, our energy storage systems just can't supply enough energy. But when combined with AI, it's a complete game changer. Already, AI is working with weather and satellite data to generate reliable, schedule-based energy delivery systems. And AI can predict how much electricity will be needed and how much that electricity will cost at any point in time. That's why Energy Storage News puts it, artificial intelligence and battery energy storage systems can keep the power on 24/7. And no wonder by 2030, the world's energy storage market is expected to multiply 20 times in value. Remember how the convergence of ChatGPT and the ChatGPT plugin store will likely send OpenAI into the stratosphere? Well, this is the same principle. That's why I've already identified 4 potential big convergence winners between AI and energy now, and 20 others between AI and cybersecurity, AI and healthcare, and more. It's all inside another bonus report I'd like you to have called Your Complete Investor's Guide to Profiting in the Emerging Age of AI. Now, I'll send it to you for free when you try out Innovation Investor. But there is actually one more critical wealth building report I'd like to share with you today. See, there is another massive $25.8 trillion wealth shift that's making waves behind the scenes. And most people have no idea what's coming, and they're going to get blindsided when they end up with a bunch of losers. But if you act now, you could be in position to ride the winners that could soar 5 times, 10 times, even 20 times or more. And it's all thanks to an 18-year cycle that impacts the 500 largest companies in America. I'm talking about big companies like Google. Because based on history, a company listed on the S&P 500 now has an average lifespan of just 18 years. Google is pushing that at 25 years, and that's just one more reason to bet on OpenAI. Even Jeff Bezos admitted big companies only live for a few decades, and he knows Amazon's almost 30 years old. It's why he's been predicting the death of Amazon since at least 2018. But what makes this $25.8 trillion wealth shift either potentially devastating or life-changing is this. 377 of the current S&P 500 companies will all be dead by 2027, according to McKinsey. And that means it's more than likely you own shares in some of these losers, because you're talking about 75% of the S&P 500. But folks, here's the good news. Because of how much wealth is at stake, the biggest winners could make some people very rich. And that's why you want to position yourself now. Now, I've already released my predictions with the top 4 winners I'm tracking, and all the details are inside another free bonus report called 4 Tech Stocks That Could Change Society Forever. Inside the report, you'll see their names and ticker symbols. And right now, one of these stocks is actually trading for less than $3 a share. And that's remarkable considering it raised $1.9 billion on the private market and was backed by a host of venture capital names, including Coastal Ventures, which was also the first VC firm to back OpenAI. But at that sub $3 price right now, I'm projecting more than 60 times upside potential from this potential big winner. Now, all 4 of these stocks, folks, are dirt cheap. So if you want, you can easily buy shares in all of them. So, to recap, these are 3 massive opportunities to position yourself on the right side of these wealth shifts right now. And that's why I want you to have these 3 special reports. The ChatGPT Pre-IPO Prospectus, where I'll show you how to put this ChatGPT loophole into action straight from inside your own brokerage account. And you'll see how you can make this move today with as little as a few $100s. Plus, you'll get your complete investor's guide to profiting in the emerging age of AI and 4 tech stocks that could change society forever. All 3 reports are yours free the moment you join Innovation Investor. Now, I'll give you a chance to get started and claim them shortly because with AI coming faster than you probably ever imagined, you need to know how to fully position yourself now to profit from the decade's #1 megatrend. And I want to guide you toward all the biggest winners. I mean, this will be a radically different investment strategy for identifying tech stocks than what you're probably used to. And that's why when you get started today, I also want you to have a free copy of the VC Insider's Millionaire Playbook. Inside, I'll explain the heart of my investment analysis to help get you up to speed. And I'll also give you access to my Innovation Investor members-only starter video because the truth is, as powerful of a wealth-building force as AI is going to be, that's far from the only megatrend we're taking advantage of. I'm also showing readers how to profit from many other unstoppable trends like electric vehicles, self-driving cars, the energy transition, the space economy, and more. That means you'll get regularly issued special reports of Innovation Investor pointing you toward the biggest opportunities we are watching. And each brand new report will be sent directly to your inbox. But in the tech world, folks, my work never stops. Every single trading day, Monday through Friday, I'm constantly on the hunt for the best new trade ideas. I'm deep diving into the corners of the market where I know most people aren't even looking, and logging all sorts of rare opportunities in my own personal notes. Now, looking back at these notes have helped me identify all kinds of breakthrough winners. So, as a special benefit of Innovation Investor, I'm going to grant you access to these personal notes too. Now, that's all the best trade ideas I'm seeing that nobody outside of my small group of members get to hear about. And this includes my own comprehensive market analysis too. Plus, you'll get 24/7 access to our private Innovation Investor website, and that's where you'll be able to find our proprietary model portfolio. Inside, you'll see we have 2 active trading tiers, our core portfolio and our venture portfolio. That's a combined total of no more than 60 active trading picks, ranging from mid-risk, mid-reward, to those with potentially 10 times or greater upside potential. You'll never have to guess at what price to buy because we'll always give you buy up to prices. And anytime we recommend selling, you'll get those alerts delivered straight to your inbox. Now, you'll get all of this today for giving Innovation Investor a risk-free try. And while practically everyone is raising their prices on everything right now, today, my publisher agreed to give you a special deal. Now, the normal price for Innovation Investor is $199 a year. But when you join Innovation Investor today, you'll be getting a huge discount of $150 off. That means you can get access for a full year for just $49. I mean, at that price, any one of recommendations could easily pay for the full subscription in no time at all. And right now, we have more than 40 active picks that have delivered double-digit returns. So the price of Innovation Investor works out to just over $4 a month. I mean, it's the best deal you're going to see, and it's at no risk to you for the full length of your membership. Get this. If for any reason at all you're not satisfied at any point during your 365 days of access, simply contact our customer service team and we'll give you a full refund. No questions asked. No matter what, you get to keep everything that comes with this special offer today. Save all 3 special reports, save all the daily notes, save all the alerts. And that's the difference between Innovation Investor and everything else. I mean, who else do you know that saw these kinds of gains last year while the market was crashing? Of course, all investments carry risk, and past performance is not an indicator of future success. You should obviously never invest more than you can afford to lose. But I just want to show you what's possible with Innovation Investor. Because, folks, I stand by my research. And I know once you get started, you'll want to stick around for the ride. Plus, there's something else I actually want to tell you about right now. Because I actually have one more special bonus for you to take advantage of the ChatGPT IPO. Look, fortunes, they won't just be made from people who get in pre-IPO on OpenAI. They'll also be made by people who understand how to unlock ChatGPT's full potential before everyone else. Now, this is no different than what happened during the early days of the internet. In the mid-1990s, Mark Cuban realized he could use the internet to broadcast the audio of sports games online. So Cuban launched broadcast.com. And he said, people would laugh at me, but I knew this was a winner. I had no doubt in my mind. Now, of course, he was right, because Yahoo eventually bought broadcast.com for a whopping $5.7 billion. And that's the kind of undiscovered opportunity you have with ChatGPT right now. For instance, one guy reportedly used ChatGPT to help him turn $100 into a brand new business worth $25,000. And all it took was a few short days. I mean, anyone who's watched Shark Tank knows that shouldn't be possible, and yet it finally is possible if you know how to prompt ChatGPT. And that's why I'm going to offer you one last special bonus report. Inside, you'll see some of the best prompts I've discovered myself for fully maximizing the power of ChatGPT. It's called Unlocking 1,000 Times Brain Power with ChatGPT. Again, everything I promised you today is yours free when you join Innovation Investor. There honestly couldn't be a better moment in history to join than right now, because ChatGPT is already changing everything. And you have a unique chance to be on the winning side of the biggest wealth transfer ever. Now, I guarantee this historic $26.9 trillion shift will make some people richer than they ever imagined, and others will continue to be left behind. But Sequoia Capital, Peter Thiel, Mark Andreessen, Tiger Global, Coastal Ventures, and many other legendary VCs, you know how they're positioned. They're all in. Now, it's time for you to decide. This is your last call to act pre-IPO before OpenAI takes ChatGPT public. It's up to you what you do with everything I've shown you today. Just know, this wealth transfer is going to happen with or without you. And once OpenAI does go public, this opportunity to act pre-IPO vanishes forever. For instant access to everything promised today, just click the special offer button to get started. I look forward to seeing you on the winning side.